Hello my dear students, and welcome once again to another video lecture for our class in Information Management 2. In this video, we will be creating a new project that contains all of the CRUD functionality on a database with 3 tables. Specifically, we will be creating a fairly simple inventory system. Alright, so as a matter of starting point, I already have an inventory.sql right here that contains all the necessary code to create the database and the 3 tables. And this is how it's gonna be looking out as an ER diagram. So you have the items will be given a location, and the location is also having a building ID, which the buildings contain the names of the buildings of the whole area. Okay, so first we are going to create our and by the way, we already have the DB, which connects to the inventory database with just the root and no password, as I have here. And the first file we're going to create is, of course, the index.php. This will be our entry point. Since this is now a real application, our index page should be a landing page containing the main menu of our application. So we're just going to call this simple inventory system. Of course, we also need to include here our link to the Bootstrap. So let's open up getbootstrap.com and click on download, but we're not going to download, but instead we're just going to get the CDN from here and paste it there. Okay, like I said, this is going to be just a main menu, a landing page. So first, let's have a container, and inside of it we'll have a card. I think we need to put this inside of a column. Okay, let's try to find out how this it will look like. Let's try to see. Okay, the offset did not work. Right. Oh, okay. It's not called offset anymore. It's offset MD4. There you go. And I think this is too large. Okay, then we'll have here below is gonna be the links, which will be in the form of buttons. Okay, that would be in the card body, and inside of here we're gonna put some links, and which is going to be a button. Okay, so this will be going to first one. This is for the locations. So I'll just, it's going to go to locations.php. See, the class is wrong. It should be btn space btn primary to get the button, and this should also be btn block, so that it will occupy the whole width like that. Right? What if we do secondary? I think that's better. And let's just copy this up. So you have locations. Actually, the first one should be buildings. Okay, so this one should be buildings. Then locations, then of course items. And we don't need this one. All right, and let's put some space at the top. Okay. Of course, when you click on building, it's going to go to buildings.php, which we still don't have, as well as locations and items. Okay. So we go back here and create our, first of all, buildings.php. And this buildings.php is going to have the same thing here at the top. And of course, the body and the close HTML. Just copy that so that we can get the bootstrap as well. So this time we'll have a container inside of it, and maybe we'll have a row, and then a column. The first column is going to contain the form, the entry form, just like before. And the second column is going to contain the list. So here we'll have building entry form. So, see, there you go. Now let's proceed and create our form from here. Of course, this form is going to do process create building dot php, and of course the method is post. By the way, this is going to be a very long video, guys, since this is a full application that we're trying to create here. So please bear with me. Okay, we'll have form group here, and we'll have a label for name of the building. And input type text with a name of name, ID of name as well, and give it a class, of course, of form control. Okay, Just copy this one. This is now remarks. Oops. Then, of course, the button. The button. There you go. So here we have the list of the buildings at the right side. So it's gonna be here. There's gonna be a table. Of course, it's going to have only name and remarks on it. So by the way, we have not included yet our DB. So you have to include it right at the above. And we have to get the list of buildings. All right. So here in our T-body, we'll have a TR. And this TR is going to be wrapped by a for each statement. For each data as building, or B na lang para dali kayo. So here we have B name and B remarks. Of course, we also need to add a check mark here. And also here. Have the ID of name. And the value is going to be an interpolation of B ID. And of course, we have to put everything here inside of a form day. And the action is update building. Oops. db.ph ko no, Maray Pilipinas. db.php There you go. And of course, we have our delete button at the bottom. And also, we need to make this clickable for the update, no? Okay. Now let's go ahead and turn this into a clickable. Or you can just add the ID here, but I think it's better to use the name instead kay mas dako ang gawas. Okay, clickable. So here, of course, the ID here should be the interpolation of the ID. Just this one. Same thing diha. So ahref update building.php, and we're going to pass an ID, the ID of this particular building. So now it's clickable, and it's going to go to update building.php. And also this delete selected is going to go to update building. Oh, mao. The delete, you're gonna do confirm delete building. Okay. Click. Yan, confirm delete building. Alright. Go back. Mas maya sa siguro if we are going to put a navigation bar at the top. So since we still have Bootstrap here, let's go and go to the documentation and go to components. And under components, we have navbar. Para dalit na lang. Nasa sampo dere, navbar. Okay, this guy. I think we'll use this guy. Okay, this one. And of course, you're gonna have to put it outside of the container so that it will span the whole width. Like that, the whole width. But you want some space from the nav bar. I'll just put a break. I think there you go. And of course, inside the nav bar, ang lahat na magbutang og container. So this is where we put our div.container. And inside of that container is where we put all these contents. There. The reason for that is okay. Div. All right. The reason for that is since the contents of the nav bar is inside the container, the contents is going to be in the same width as our page. As you can see here, now the nav bar is aligned with our content. Dili ra pud kutob na siya. But the nav bar contents is aligned here. But the nav bar spans the whole width of the page, which is what we want, or at least that's what I want. Then this links should be pushed to the right. I want it to be pushed to the right. How do we do that? Uh, I don't know. Without joke. All we have to do is this guy is where our links are. There's some online. It should be that and that and that. Okay. So this is the one that contains our navigation links, which is home, features, pricing. Of course, we're going to change that. And if we want this to push to the right, all we have to do is add a class here called ML Auto. The ML there is not Mobile Legends for any reason. It's margin left. ML is margin left auto. So if it's automatic margin left, it's going to push to the right like so. There you go. Ano man yung may there you go. Okay. And of course, gonna remove these things here, but the home will remain. And of course, this is going to go to index.php. And we don't have to add this current. And then we'll have here, of course, this is buildings. And this is the one with the current. So I'll just get this here. And this is buildings. And paste the current there. Of course, next to buildings is the locations. And finally, items. And again, this is buildings.php, which is exactly this page. And this is locations.php. And this one is also items.php. And there you go. Why is building still deactive? Oh, okay. Should be active. Alright, buildings is active. Home. Go back here. We click buildings again. Alright. Now let's proceed with adding the functionality for the adding of buildings, the editing, and the deleting of buildings for this matter. We also have to change this nav bar. Let's do that first. It should be simple inventory. There you go. So now let's go back to our code, and in here we're gonna add a new file for what was that? Process create building.php. Okay, if is set. Oh, by the way, I forgot to add the name of our button. So create akong ngalan. If that exists, here we are going to have name and remarks. And of course, you're gonna have a statement. And we are gonna do prepare. And then you do execute. N is of course for the name, and R is for the remarks. And after that, we should go back. So header, location to buildings .php, just like that. Let's try. I'm gonna add a new building. It's gonna be the ITSC building. Houses, the library, and multimedia center. And new building. Voila. Voila, voila. Nothing here. Let's see what happens. It's blank. Or maybe the header location did not work. Let's try putting something at the else. And then say no entry. And it's exactly what's going on. There's no, this did not happen. Perhaps ESET post is not here. What's wrong? Name is create. I'll try displaying everything. Yeah, okay. It was just a simple refresh problem. Okay. So if we add, yeah. So we're able to add now. Now let's do the update. So when we click on this, it should open up the update page. Just make the update page far simpler than before. Okay. So again, the update underscore building.php is going to be the file. And of course, it's going to have the header. Okay. You have a container. They have a row and a column. And this column is going to be just this. Update building. And just copy the form from here. This is now update building. Maybe I'll change this to info. And of course, we should have here a script to get the information of the building as being passed using this add ID. So you have ID here from the get ID. And of course, don't forget also the include. So based on the given ID, we're gonna get statement. This is prepare select asterisk from buildings where ID is equal to ID. And of course, we're gonna have to execute this. With the ID be the variable ID. And then we'll fetch since it's only one, you only have to fetch. You don't use fetch all because fetch all is gonna result into an array. But fetch is gonna get only one record, which is exactly what we need. Let's try. So see, it's a class with name, administrative building, exactly what we have. And of course, we are gonna populate those data into the form. So here we're gonna add a value. And the value is gonna be an interpolation of building. This is the name. Let me copy this now. And this is for the remarks. And there you go. Maybe we'll just add a cancel button. This will simply be an A. Which is gonna go to index, oh no, not index, but buildings.php. And we get cancel. So you have a cancel, and you click on that, it's gonna go back. The cancel should be different. Warning. So it's oops, one ring. Warning type of button. Okay. There you go. And of course, let's not forget about our navbar. This guy. Which is again placed outside of the container. And this time, yeah, it's same. There you go. Navbar. So now let's proceed with the process. Again, this form is gonna go process. It's not process create building anymore. It's gonna process update building. So here we're gonna add process update building.php. Again, include db there, and then if is set, once again our button is not create, this is update. So here if is set post update, if that exists, then we'll proceed with the update. Again, we get the name, and the remarks. And of course our statement. This is a prepare. Update buildings. Set name. Is equal to n, comma, remarks equals r, where id equals id. We also have to pass the id to here, because at this point, at this moment, this file, this post, Auto Global do not have the information of the id. So in our update, we also need to get this id here and pass it to the form. How do we do that? Simply add an input type here, which is a hidden, with the name of id and the value of, you guessed it right, the id. Okay. So here, okay. Now let's do execute with the n name, r remarks, and also id, which we still have, which we don't have, no? id equals post. And then I'm gonna go header, location, buildings.php. Right. So example here, high school building. One on the JHS and SHS. Date. There you go. Now the delete. Of course, our delete in the buildings here, this guy, confirm delete is gonna be the file. Confirm delete building. All right, same thing. I'll copy this guy, including this guy. Let's make sure our delete button has a name also. Name, oh, nagawas. Okay, so that we can put it here if. There you go. First, our IDs is gonna be an implode of ID. And we'll have a statement, of course. Video. Oh, we're not going to do, yeah. We're gonna get all the buildings within that IDs. So query. Of course, we get the data by fetching all. If, by the way, if there is no delete post, we should not be here. So we are just going to go header location and just simply go back to buildings.php. Right. Okay, for example, if without clicking this and just go to that page, confirm delete.php. Oh, confirm delete buildings. Was it confirm delete building without the S? And enter. Oh, it should be buildings. So if I do confirm delete building.php and enter, yeah, it just goes back there. And also another scenario wherein you should go back here and don't proceed here is if the user just click on this button without selecting anything here. What will happen is your post ID is gonna be blank, and therefore the implode function is going to be an error. Okay, I didn't cover this in our previous demonstration or our previous video, but if you did click here without selecting, as you can see here, the implode function is gonna be throwing an error because the post ID here is not an array. So we can also add that here, or no. And we're gonna do count. If the count of post ID is greater than 0. Okay, so now just click here, just go back here without selecting. But if you click 1, it goes to the confirm delete. Of course, we don't have some things inside here yet, but that's basically it. Now let's proceed. So again, gonna have here a container, a row, and column. And we'll have here a card. So here we're gonna put for each from our data. Is it data? Yeah, data. as building. And we'll just put in the name. Okay. So refresh. Are you sure you want to delete these buildings? The card doesn't work. uh, yeah. It's our card. It should be, it's no longer like this. It should be text. No. BG warning. Yep. And we have to put this inside of a card body. There you go. And perhaps you'll also need to have a card header, and see is delete building, like that. Okay. And of course, gonna have the button with, of course, the form. So under here, we're gonna have a form. The action is process delete building. Of course, the method is post. And inside of here, we're gonna do this again. Actually, let's not do that again. Let's just embrace it all with a form. And inside of here, for every li, it's gonna be a hidden input type with the name of id, which is an array. And the value is, of course, an interpolation of the b id. And below, we'll have our button, a danger button. Yes. Delete buildings. And our cancel is gonna be just an ahref, a with a button class. This is going to be a cancel, so it's just info. Of course, it is going to go to buildings.php, and this is cancel. There you go. To cancel, you go back here, select 2, click on delete. You now have, oh, where are the nawala ang list. Perhaps we need to put the input inside of the li. Don't know, maybe. Let's try. Wala gyapon. Oh, I see. The implode, we did not include. I did not include the delimiter, the comma delimiter. Should be comma first and then the value. There you go. Cancel. And if we are going to continue and yes and delete, it's going to go to process delete building, which we are going to do next. Again, don't forget to give the name to our button. This guy. I'll call this confirm lang. So if we confirm or delete, then we can proceed. So again, our IDs are taken from our implode ID, and we can have our statement. Although we don't have to, yeah, don't have to use prepare. Just do query. And just like that, we go to all right, to test it out, click on these two, and yes, and it's deleted. So we go back home, we have buildings, we can add buildings, we can edit buildings, and we can delete buildings. So in our next episode, we're gonna do locations and items. But for the purposes of this video, since we're basically going to do locations in the same way we did buildings, I'm going to skip the locations parts and proceed immediately to the items parts. So it'll be when I come back, there is already a functionality for the locations, and we will start doing our items